Madam President, I understand the President made another speech today, and the speeches that he's been giving lately are clever political documents, and it's pretty clear that his focus has shifted from governing now over a year from the about a year from the election day to campaigning. But really our nation is in a serious financial condition. Our debt is larger than we like to acknowledge that it is. Our European friends on the other side of the Atlantic are wrestling with their debt problems, and many of those nations, most of those nations, have debt less than we do as a percentage of our GDP. The Debt Commission that President Obama appointed, headed by Mr. Erskine Bowles and Senator Alan Simpson, they told us we're on the most predictable path to a financial crisis the nation has ever been on. And what they were saying was the unsustainable debt, as they called it, trajectory of this country will lead us to some sort of economic catastrophe. Knock us back into a recession, put us back like 2007, 2008, or like what Europe is facing right now. They pleaded with us to do something about it. We have a speech, and I just would have to say we try to look at the speech and see what it is that the President has proposed. He is our leader, our commander-in-chief. You only have one chief executive, one governor, one mayor. What is it this executive, our president, is proposing that we do? Well, it's pretty clear that it appears that he's proposing that we spend next year $324 billion more than we plan to spend. He calls it a tax cut, or maintaining a tax cut. In truth, it's a holiday from paying into our Social Security fund, our Social Security pension that all Americans pay into as they work. Well, where does the money come from? So you've got a trust fund. The Social Security we pay into it, and we've got a promised benefit when we retire, and we want to honor that and make sure the Social Security Trust Fund is able to honor that. How do we not pay into it without hurting, damaging severely the Social Security Trust Fund? Well, they say, don't worry, we'll put the money in. Who is we? Well, we as the United States Treasury. We're running a $1 trillion deficit. We don't have any money in the Treasury to pay to Social Security. So how do we honor the Social Security Trust Fund? How do we put the money in? Well, we give bonds. Just an IOU. The United States Treasury, easy as pie, signs a little document, an IOU, gives it to Social Security and say, you're made whole. Don't worry. No problem. What me worry? We got it under control. Well, where does this come from? The first thing we have to do to confront a surging debt in America is to quit digging the hole deeper. Quit asserting new programs to spend. If you're going to cut spending somewhere in the program to save money, let's begin to reduce our debt. Don't just cut spending so we can create a new spending program. We really have got to watch what we're doing. I don't see anything in this speech today that would lay out a 2, 5, 10-year plan for making America a stronger and better place. But we're told that the President cares about the middle class. And if you question any of these schemes, then you don't care about working Americans. And I reject that. That's offensive to me. I totally believe I represent the cross-section of people in my state and America. I love and respect the working people of this country, and they are entitled to better. They're entitled to leadership that tells them the truth. And the truth is, we are endangering their future and their children's future by allowing the most incredible debt increases the nation has ever seen. And that has got to be brought under control. It's offensive to suggest that if you have a different view about how to create jobs and wealth in America, you don't care about the people who make America great. People who go to work every day, who send their children to defend this country, who pay their taxes and who obey the law and do the things right and support those who are in trouble and need help. So I would just propose this more specifically, and I think the Republican plan touches these very issues in an effective way that would in fact increase and enhance job creation and economic growth in America. First, we need policies that reduce the cost of energy for Americans. We've got an energy department, an interior department that seems to believe its goals in life should be to drive up the cost of energy. Make coal, make natural gas harder to produce. We need more American energy. We need more energy at lower prices. The idea that some have that we're going to be better off because of carbon or other issues to have higher energy prices so we use less of it is totally unjustified, and it's creating an incredible burden on working Americans. We need to end the health care proposal that is clearly driving up health care costs. It's causing businesses not to hire. I've talked to them, small businesses in my state. They assure me with absolute confidence that the health care bill that will be taking effect and beginning to take effect will cause them to hire fewer people. We need more people hired. We need more people working. We need to eliminate unnecessary, counterproductive governmental regulations that drive up the cost of our products, making them less competitive in the world marketplace. We need to do that. Won't cost the Treasury any money, but it'll make America more productive and create jobs. I supported and worked with my Democratic colleagues, and we passed in this Senate. But the President didn't support it. Legislation to demand that China treat its currency in a fair way, to eliminate the currency manipulation that they've been participating in, and to eliminate the unfair hammering, savaging of American industry that's occurring in this country as a result of unfair trade. That's very real. It's got to end, and the President needs to be leading on that. And it would create jobs in our country without adding to our debt. There's one more thing I would mention, and that's tax simplification and tax alteration, not to get necessarily less taxes, but to create the tax revenue that the government takes in a way that does not damage the economy. And finally, the greatest threat to our economic growth and to our job creation in America is the debt itself. It's a cloud over our economy. We've got to do more about it. You talk to the financial experts and the wizards who move money around the world, they're worried about it. You talk to government experts like the Secretary of Treasury or the Federal Reserve Chairman or the head of the Congressional Budget Office, they tell us this is dangerous what we're doing. We're on an unsustainable path. And I do not see in this speech today any commitment, any leadership from the President on this fundamental issue. Back in Marion, Alabama, I was at a town meeting, actually it was a meeting at somebody's house, and 30 or 40 people there, and the oldest gentleman there spoke last. He fought in World War II. He grew up during the Depression, and he told us, in his view, it was not the high cost of living that was getting us in trouble, but the cost of living too high. And I do believe we've been living too high. We've been spending too much. And the President, our leader should be talking directly and honestly to us and laying out a 2, 5, 10-year plan that will bring this deficit down, explain to the American people why we all are going to have to tighten our belts, why there's nothing, defense or anything else that's going to avoid having to tighten its belt. And we can do this and put our country on a sound path. This Congress is going to have to do more than tread water for the next year. We're going to have to do more than just play clever political games. We're going to have to deal with the threat we face honestly and directly. And the proposal I see that was floated again today from the White House may sound good politically, but for me, as one who's been looking at the numbers, it does one thing. It increases the debt over the next year or two by $479 billion. That means probably this year's deficit will not be $1 trillion, but probably $1.35 trillion, $1,350 billion, this year's deficit. And we're promised that there'll be a tax increase that after 10 years somehow will pay for this. That's the kind of thinking and action that has allowed this country to get out of control financially. And I hope we can do better. Thank the chair and would yield the floor.